One night the snow fell thick and fast on the wood, where Snow White and her little friends. In the morning they found the snow, up to the windowsill of their living room. And when they opened the front door, a great drift of snow tumbled into the room. "Whose turn is it to sweep the path?" asked Snow White. "Not mine," grunted Grumpy. "I did it yesterday, and I am very cross that the snow..." "Not my turn," yawned Sleepy. "Nor mine," blushed Bashful. "I did it on Monday," beamed Happy. Dopey couldn't speak, but he shook his head very hard. "I know," said Doc, the clever dwarf. "It's Sneezy's turn to sweep the path." Snow White passed the broom to Sneezy. "Brr, it's chilly out there," he shivered. "I think I'm going to sneeze." "No, no!" cried his friends in alarm. Sneezy's sneezes were enormous. They blew all the ornaments off the mantelpiece. "Sneeze outside," ordered Doc, and he pushed Sneezy. "Add-a-shoo! A-tee-shoo! Add-a-shoo!" Sneezy's gigantic sneeze echoed through at the wood, and it was such a strong sneeze that it blew all the snow away from the Dot cottage. In seconds, the path was quite clear. "Oh, Sneezy," chuckled Snow White, "you are clever." After Sneezy's sneeze cleared the path in front of the cottage, Snow White decided to go outside and get some fresh air. She put on her warm coat while the dwarfs gathered in the living room, still discussing the wonders of Sneezy's sneeze. Grumpy snorted. "Hero? Huh. We'll see when. It snows again." But before Grumpy could continue his complaint, Snow White opened the door again and called out, "Come on, everyone. It's too beautiful a day to miss. We can play in the snow." Happy jumped out of his chair. "Playing in the snow? That's a great idea." One by one, the dwarfs put on their coats and scarves. Even Sleepy, still yawning, slowly came out. Dopey, always eager, had already brought a bucket to start making snowballs. "What are we going to do, Snow White?" Doc asked, always wanting to make sure everything was planned out properly. Snow White replied with a big smile. They started the game by building a snow fort in front of the cottage. Dopey threw a small snowball at him. "Okay then," Grumpy exclaimed as he rolled a large snowball. The snow battle began. Laughter and shouts echoed through the forest. Had to be careful not to sneeze and ruin everything. This time they made it bigger and cuter than the ones they had made before. Dopey even put his own hat on the snowman's head. "I know," Happy said with the twinkle in his eye. "We can name him Snow." "Simple but fitting," Doc agreed with a nod. As the sun began to set, they went back inside the cottage to warm up. Enjoying their dinner and talking about their day. However, just as they were about to retire, there was a soft knocking on the door. Snow White stood up and opened it, only to find a small reindeer shivering in front of the cottage. "Oh, you poor thing," Snow White said as she picked up the little reindeer. They all agreed to give the little reindeer a warm place by the fire. That night, they all went to bed with warm hearts, grateful for the simple happiness they had together. Outside, the snowman they had made stood tall in the moonlight, as if guarding their little cottage. The snow began to fall slowly again, but this time they were not worried. They knew that together, there was nothing they could not overcome. The next morning, Snow White woke up earlier than usual. The cottage was covered in a fresh blanket of snow. The snowman they had made the night before now looked. The little reindeer they had found the night before was still sleeping soundly by the fire, keeping himself warm. She put on her thick shawl and quietly went outside. That was when she heard a strange sound in the distance, like someone calling. Curious, she followed the sound, walking deeper into the forest. In the middle of a snowy forest, Snow White found a small bird with an injured wing lying in the snow. Gently, she wrapped the bird in her scarf and carried it back to the cottage. When Snow White returned, the dwarfs woke up and helped make a cozy spot for the injured bird by the window. The little deer wanted to go outside, so Dopey opened the door. However, it stayed nearby, trotting around as if to show them something. They put on their coats and followed the deer into the forest, where a group of animals led them to a hidden cave beneath a large tree. Inside the cave, they found the weak, injured mother deer. Snow White knelt beside her and said gently, "Don't worry, we'll help you." They carried the mother deer back to the cottage, using a stretcher made of twigs and blankets. Even Grumpy, despite his complaints, helped steady it along the way. The little deer looked relieved as her mother improved, and the cottage became a safe haven for the injured animals. At the cottage, Doc treated the mother deer with an herbal potion, and the little deer was relieved to see her mother improving. That evening, they sat by the fire, sharing laughter and stories. Snow White expressed her gratitude for her friends, saying, "We may live in a small cottage, but you all have big hearts." Happy replied, "We're glad you're here too, Snow White." Outside, snow fell, while the cottage was filled with warmth, and the snowman stood tall, symbolizing their happiness.